concerning the loss of Peter Willis, as you say, far too young. Kevin Maguire is broadcaster, columnist at the New Statesman, associate editor, and columnist as well, of course, for the Daily Mirror. 10 after 8. OK, let's go explore some of those points with Richard H., who's security advisor, co-founder and director of operations at Mobius International. Are we in a situation where chief medical officers, chief scientific officers are going to need blokes and women that you provide to look after them? Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, it wouldn't be a commercial responsibility if indeed it did come to that. Unfortunately, these public figures, although they are in the public limelight, they're not, as a default measure, afforded protection because they're simple lines where are drawn dependent on the budgets available for it. The Police Protection Command work closely with other supporting agencies, such as the security services, fixated threat assessment centres and so on, where a determination is made on threats against individuals in the public limelight. If there's no evidential material that supports that assessment, then it's simply a fact that protection will not be afforded to them. Now, when we look back over history and we see the likes of Salman Rushdie, for instance, who was an author of the Satanic Verses, Iran's Ayatollah declared a fatwa, a death sentence against him. And okay, he was a UK citizen, and so police protection was afforded to him at great cost to the taxpayer. But that was based on evidence. You can't have a process whereby every person in the public limelight is afforded protection. Firstly, because the budget's not available, and you just don't have the manpower available for it either.
What assessment will now go on, Mr. H, to work out whether this gentleman needs to be afforded some kind of protection?
Well, there's two aspects to this. Firstly, there'll be an investigation exactly what happened, and no doubt, I mean, looking at the video this morning, it is clear to me that the assault, which is what it was, pretty much came to almost an end because of them identifying a police van, quite local. And it's a great shame that the police officers weren't there in the immediate vicinity to respond to it there and then. And it does raise the question of how the extent of that attack would have gone on if there wasn't any police presence in terms of that van there at the time. So it is a worrying factor, combined with the fact of an increase of knife crime in London. The second aspect to this, probably a bit of an elephant in the room, is the fact that the police now have a bit of a concern here insofar as a back-covering exercise. So, for example, if they made an assessment regarding Chris Whitty's security and they made a determination that there's not sufficient evidence to afford protection to him, then and then subsequently another attack, a more serious attack against him occurred, of course, questions will then be asked. So it's a very fine line and a very difficult one the police have in assessing the situation against him.
Thanks for your time. Richard H. is security advisor, co-founder at Mobius International, who work in this field. Michelle, you'll be the first caller. Let's just remind